Let's look at more immediate concerns. What we have talked about so far is England, Yoz. What we haven't talked about is India, really. And they have won 3 series against England. I think at the start, if you'd said, who were favourites to win the Test series, the T20, and the One Day series, I think you'd say India were. And I think the white ball series were far more competitive than the Test series. England really gave India a game in the white ball. But this India side, this India squad, it's not a side, is it? They've got this pool of players, looks really strong. They look to have strength in depth.
I think that's an understatement. I think it's the strongest group of players, a squad of players, I think there's ever been in international cricket, actually. If you think about Australia's dominance in the 1990s or West Indies' dominance in the 1980s, they had a core of, in the case of the West Indies, they did have a lot of quick bowlers, but they really only had about 4 or 5 batsmen who were outstanding, and they didn't have any spinners or anything. The Aussies, similar. They had a very good sort of core of 7 or 8 greats plus 4 or 5 very good cricketers, and a couple in the wings, but they didn't have 25 players that you could pick pretty much at random. I mean, there are so many fast bowlers, spinners that they can call on, obviously batsmen. If you think back to the early Test victories in Australia, Shubman Gill, had a huge influence. Rahane, people like that. There's Mayank Agarwal, who played in that series as well. There's Shreyas Iyer, who was injured, who didn't come into this series because of his injury. They've got a string of batsmen who they could call on. KL Rahul didn't play in that Test series, and suddenly has come back in, made 100 in the one dayers. So, built round Virat Kohli's skill with the bat, they've got any number of batsmen with the X factor of Rishabh Pant, quite extraordinary player. And it's amazing to think now, isn't it, that they picked Wriddhiman Saha for the first Test of that Australia series back in, late November, early December. I mean, just amazing that they would have even considered not picking Rishabh Pant now. What a dynamic player he has become. So, and all the seamers that haven't been part, like you mentioned Bumrah, there's Mohammad Shami, there's Ishant Sharma, there's Yadav, they've got so many fast bowlers as well. So I think they're an incredible they have an incredible depth of talent, which is only going to get better with more and more IPLs. The IPL is going to expand into 10 teams next year. So even more opportunity for these young Indians.